Wonderful. Well, hello, and welcome. Hey, Tamara, it's so good to see you in the chat. Tamara is an alum of our program. Um, Thank you all so much for being here. This is our first webinar in the Meeting and Event Planning webinar series presented by the UNC Charlotte School of Professional Studies. My name is Crystal Govan, and I'm the program director for our Meeting and Event Planning Certificate program. I'm also your host for today's discussion called Moments That Matter, Crafting and Capturing Event Magic. This is a free webinar series which highlights some of our incredible instructors and industry professionals who bring real-world experience to our virtual classroom and also to today's conversation. So before we dive in, I did want to go over a few quick housekeeping items. So for those where a visual description would be helpful, I'm a white woman in my 30s. I won't say how high in my 30s I am, but I'm in my 30s. I have blonde hair and I'm wearing glasses and a white UNC Charlotte blouse. Behind me is a virtual background featuring our UNC Charlotte Meeting and Event Planning webinar series branding. So our event aims to be as accessible as possible. To ensure that, here are some features to help make your experience a little more inclusive. So we have enabled live captioning, which you can turn on and off at the bottom of your screen. After the event, we will also provide a video recording with captions, and a full transcript can be shared upon request. Any slides or supplemental materials shared during the event will also be available in accessible formats upon request. And if you encounter any technical issues or require additional information, please let us know in that chat box. So as you probably heard, we are recording today's webinar. If you can't stay for the whole session, don't worry. Everyone who registered will receive the recording afterwards. So the format of the discussion will be where I interview or chat with our panelists, and we will have time at the end for audience Q&A. So you can add your questions to the Q&A box throughout the session. We will definitely have time at the end to go over them. And as I shared, this is a webinar series. What that means is we will have two more webinars. We have three total. We have one in November, one in December, and we will share those registration links in the chat near the end. And last but not least, if you would like to learn more about our Meeting and Event Planning Certificate program, we will share a link to that near the end. So without further ado, I'm so excited to introduce our two speakers for today's session. First, we have Crystal Govan, who is owner and principal event planner at Fabulously Created Events and instructor for Wedding Planning, the Business Behind the Big Day course. Crystal combines corporate precision with creative flair to design events that are both memorable and meaningful. Joining her is Meredith Dean, who is founder of the Dean's List and also instructor for our event marketing and branding class. Meredith is a digital branding and career consultant whose work focuses on storytelling, community building, and empowering professionals to share their unique voices. Welcome, Crystal and Meredith. I am so happy to have you both here. And you know what? Let's just dive into our first question. What do you think?
Sounds great. Thanks for having us.
All right. I love that. Well, Crystal, you have built your career blending corporate and social events. How does your corporate background shape the way you design deeply personal experiences like weddings?
Two things come to mind. 100%, the first thing it would be structure. In corporate America, everything, of course, is ran by structure, clear objectives, timelines, measurable outcomes, all of those kind of things. So I think I've carried that piece into weddings. So definitely structure. The other thing that comes to mind too, I would say, is I don't know the proper way to say this. There's probably some better verbiage I could use, but I'm just gonna say it because that's just who I am. I want to say like having a clear backbone, like knowing it when you walk in, it's like walking into a boardroom. You have to be the expert in this. You cannot come into an event as a wedding planner timid at all. So those are the two things that come to mind is structure and then walking into a wedding, into an event like you are the boss.
Ooh, I love that. I got married 3 years ago, actually, tomorrow.
Oh,
And the reason, thank you. The reason I hired my event planner is because I knew she was going to get stuff done. She came in like she knew what she was talking about. I was completely lost and I was like, please help me. So I think
yeah,
being confident
yeah,
is key.
yeah. That's probably such a better word, confident instead of him.
I like backbone
Confident,
too. That was good.
confident owning your
Yeah,
space, all of
yeah.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I would say also to that too, when you do that, it also helps build a very good relationship with your vendors too. Not only your client, but your vendors too. They want to know that whoever they're working with, that they absolutely know what they're doing. So
Yes.
yeah.
Yes. They can trust that person for sure. And switching gears a little bit, Meredith, your branding work spans everything from NFL reporters to global brands. How can event planners use branding strategies to elevate even smaller scale events?
So I love working with female-owned and minority-owned businesses, and one of my clients is an event planner, Ivy Robinson. I'm going to give her as an example. So I think one of the most important things you can do is show your humanness, right? Is showing the raw and authentic side of you, and being able to also, you have these elevated, incredible events, but there's so many behind-the-scenes things that go on. Crystal knows this as an event planner, the amount of problems she has to fix or make it look like there never was a problem and just let it flow. So what I really love to do with her is we do a full reel that's just a rundown of all of the behind the scenes and the vendors that are at that wedding. And there's no cuts, no nothing. It's just one take of us walking through the whole thing. Gets a little bit of her personality in there, but then also is giving attribution to all the different vendors. And those are some of the best performing reels that she has. So, people are really craving authenticity and real, raw, in the moment content. My journalism background working for CNN and Fox and CBS has also been really helpful with kind of helping with getting those real life moments out there and kind of reporting on it. But in the world of AI right now, and we're trying to distinguish what's reality and what's not, the more real, raw, authentic moments, that's really what's going to show up for smaller scale events and then for your digital brand.
I love that. Thank you, Meredith. Yeah, I think it's funny. We were chatting yesterday about AI. You can't really spot what's AI and what's not, but I still think for now, we can still spot what's human and what's not. And till that day, I don't know what, but
For now,
I think
yeah, for now, which I'm
exactly.
really grateful for. But
Yes. But the human element, making it personal, making it about the humans who the events are for. I love that. And we're going to ping pong back to Crystal now. So, while marketing and branding often sound more corporate, those principles can also spill over into personal events. So, Crystal, how do you work with clients to understand their vision and bring it to life in a way that feels authentic?
Um, Definitely starts with listening to your client. In this world that we live in right now, especially with sometimes with new age planners, they'll take on the event as if it's theirs. When you have to also realize that it's not your event, it's the client's event. So figuring out who they are, and you do that by asking questions. And it's one of those things. Weddings are very, very personal, so you have to get deep into it with your client. So asking questions that sometimes feel real personal, but you need those things in order to get the kind of event you want to. So asking about family dynamics, that's very, very important. And sometimes it's uncomfortable, but it is what it is. You have to ask those kind of questions, but also asking questions like for me, I ask my clients like, where do you like to shop? That tells me a lot about how I'm going to design a wedding. Restaurants, tell me what your favorite restaurants. That tells me what kind of food are we going to serve. So those are the things that are going to make it authentic for their client. If I know my client, if I know what they like, their style and all that, that helps me to design perfectly for them.
I love that. Thank you. And yeah, I think it goes back to what's authentic, what is true for that couple or that business if you're working in a corporate setting. So Meredith, you've built communities through your Dean's List events. What role does storytelling and community building play in creating memorable guest experiences?
So I feel like your community is everything. And when I say community, I mean online and offline. You know, Crystal being part of that, I would not be here without her putting my name in the room to be a UNCC instructor. So I'm very grateful for that. But it comes down to, you know, your authentic real life relationships. Even though I'm doing digital branding and social media, you know, each of those followers, those are real people that you have that connection with. And the more people that you have speaking your name in certain rooms, that can be really essential for building your own business. But for me, with storytelling and also building that community, it's making sure that you are touching on something that's really important. How are you helping others? How are you looking out to lift up other people? So that's something that I've been doing through our 20 Under 20 awards. So we do this for 14 to 19-year-old young leaders who are diverse and in Charlotte, through our Black Woman in Media Award, which is given to a student who is interested in communications or in media in honor of my friend Chesley, who passed away. So everything I do comes down to my mission and my purpose, and looking for ways to connect people who may have never connected otherwise. And we do the same thing with our Dean's List destinations. So we do international trips. But it's just really beautiful how you can have an online connection with someone, you know, through Instagram or through LinkedIn, and that can be your next mentor. That could be your next business partner. Even someone who's, you know, in your class, that can be someone who's a follower and helps promote your event coming up. So making sure that you take care of those real life relationships, and the online ones.
Well said. Yeah, I think it's funny with our program being entirely online. I've never met you or Crystal in person, but I feel a connection. Like there is a community, even if it's online. Maybe one day we'll get to be in person to bring everybody together. But yeah, it's all about, of course, helping your communities, but also building communities and helping one another out.
Love it. Agreed.
Yeah. And I know I'm going to both of you asking questions directly, but if either of you want to fill in at any time, definitely feel free to. I do want it to be a discussion here. Um, but Crystal, when clients talk about wanting their event to feel magical, if they use that language, what does that mean in practice, and how do you help bring that vision to life?
The word magic is funny, but I think magic, it isn't a smoke and mirrors. It's definitely about emotion, and that's what we want people to feel. So when the client walks in their event, we love it when they say, "Oh, this feels like us." And then on the opposite end, when the guest walks in, we definitely want them to say, "Oh, this feels like them," whoever the client is. That's what you want. So you definitely want to intentionally invoke an emotion that's a lasting memory. It's kind of what I can think.
Well said. And I think you probably got to it earlier, but how do you get an understanding of what that couple is or who that client is to kind of help bring that vision to life?
It's definitely conversations. This is an industry, it's hospitality at the end of the day. And if people go back to the old terminology of hospitality, it is what it is. I had to have that conversation with somebody this week. I think it's a lost art that we have to gain back. Hospitality is all about the client and making them happy. But it is about building a relationship. When somebody books me, I tell them we don't like each other. If you don't like me, don't book me. Because I have to be your best friend for the next however long. If that's a year, if it's sometimes 2 years, whatever that is, I've got to build a relationship with that person. So it's building a relationship. It's learning about the person. You literally become family to these people. So if you don't feel like you can sit at a dinner table with those people, maybe they're not your right client, but that's how you get to know them. And the more you get to know someone and get to know the real details and things about them, I promise you, the better their event will be. Because that's how you capture all those little small details. Because I always say the little small details is what will be noticed at an event, to the things that people don't think about. So, but you can't get to the little small details unless you know the little small details about the person.
Yes, that's critical. And I think it's in planning my own wedding, I realized how intimate it is, because it is such an emotional day or event that you're having. So I think making sure that you have, kind of going back to that community, have that personal connection with the people that you're working with, and making sure it's a good fit for both the client, but also as a planner, make sure that you're aligned on things so you can work well together and bring the magic to life, not smoke and mirrors, but the emotional magic.
And that
Um, yeah.
also help you as a planner get the right team together, because it's just not about myself and the client. Well, we gotta hire 20 other people for this event too. They've got to be the right players too. So you got to know that what's the right fit, who's the right fit.
Yes, it's not. Yep. There's so many people that are involved. You've got the vendors, you've got, oh my gosh, I'm thinking of so many different vendors right now. And yeah, there's a lot of moving parts and a lot of players in the game, so to speak. So hats off to all my wedding planners out there. I don't know how you all do it. Meredith, you specialize in digital branding and content. How can content creation, so things like photos, videos, and social media moments, help capture and extend that emotional magic of an event long after it ends?
Yeah, I also love the term magic. My classes are mobile magic classes, because it is amazing what you can do with these guys. And we all have one, right? We all have a phone. Even if you're in the middle of the Masai Mara in Kenya, people have access to phones over clean water sometimes, which is wild to think. But so it is really great that you are able to extend that magic by creating these behind the scenes moments. So for my clients at weddings or for events, I'm getting over 400 raw photos and videos so they can use for future social media posts. So you're not just getting one recap reel for the entire event, but you're able to showcase all sorts of things. From, you can do a post that's a carousel, which has multiple photos for one vendor, and you can collaborate with that vendor. So then it's going to bring their followers to your page and vice versa. And they might want to work with you and continue to refer you. So that's one really good thing there, is continuing to think of how can I collaborate with other Instagram accounts. I'll give you another example of when I was an event content creator for one of Ivy's weddings. There was this violinist that was there, and I was so impressed with him. I was getting all these behind the scenes videos, and I was just blown away by this guy. And I had never seen anyone have an electric violin. And I came up to him and he said, I'm kind of nervous. I haven't done one of these for this kind of wedding before. And I said, you are going to be absolutely amazing. I've heard you rehearse. I'll take a video of you. We'll do a quick TikTok. And I don't know, maybe something can happen. And, I'm not some huge creator, but maybe we can just highlight you in some way. So that video that I took, it's just one video. It's about a minute of me hyping him up, saying, oh my gosh, this guy is amazing. He is killing it over there. And he's just playing Pink Pony Club on his violin at the wedding. It now has over 20 million impressions. He got over 200,000 followers in 3 weeks, got the attention of Shonda Rhimes, Netflix. It is just crazy. His whole life has changed from that one interaction. And he's probably booked out until 2030 because I helped him create this booking form. So it just shows you the power of one post and the positivity that can come from something like that, and just showing one act of kindness of, promoting someone. So if you guys look him up, Justin Monday Violins. I'm actually going to be on CBS Atlanta this weekend just talking about how it's so simple to lift up someone when things are really difficult, especially this year. Business has been tough for a lot of people. So it's just a good story of offline impact with online presence.
I love that so much. And it's so funny. I saw that on social media. Somebody else in the chat said they saw it. So it definitely went viral. And how long, Meredith, was that clip, would you say? Like, how many seconds was it?
It was 1 minute and 1 second, so 61 seconds.
Wow.
And thank you, Johanna, Lisa, Sam, Ashanti. I appreciate y'all chiming in the chat over there.
They're
He's an
loving it.
amazing person. I would give him a follow for sure. Or you can watch him. He's now doing lives on TikTok. I'm a huge fan of this guy. I'm so proud of him. And he was saying that business was struggling before this video. Now it's definitely not.
That's amazing. Well, bravo. I love that. And I think, again, it was behind the scenes. It was probably part of that human element, showing people a little bit behind the scenes, something you might not see that may not be perfect, but obviously it caught on and struck a nerve with people. I love it.
And the point
Started
is that
following.
anyone can do that. I say that everyone is an influencer and you have the ability to influence people for good and lift people up. You don't need a certain amount of followers. Anything can go viral like that if you have good intentions and you're kind. And I think that if we can keep pushing people to do that, then that's what I try to do through the Dean's List.
I love that. Well, yeah, I hope he's booked out past 2030. He's awesome
I
and
hope so
very
too.
talented. I love that. Well, this actually is a question for both of you. Together, you represent both the on-site experience and the digital storytelling side. How do you see those two elements working together to create a lasting impact?
Let me
I feel
go.
like I already told my story, so I'm going to let Crystal go ahead and do it.
I think that the in-person experience, for me, I'm trying to create the moment in person, but the digital part creates it far after that. And it's just like what she said, what just happened with this guy. I mean, when she posted, I was trying to call the guy, I was trying to book him for an event just by her post. So it definitely, it works. And even in, I mean, now we live in a day where we have content creators, which is what Meredith is kind of doing for Ivy. And with that, what I'm seeing is there's a difference. So we can hire a videographer and we can hire a content creator. The videographer is going to give you that video long after the wedding is over, right? And it's edited on top of that. It's showing all the pretty and all of that, right? Which is great. The content creator, for what Meredith is doing, is, to me, giving you the raw behind the scenes. Like, she's interviewing that wedding planner, and that's what people really want to see. That's the authentic part of it. So I would say that I don't even know that I'm answering your question at this point. I'm rambling.
You
Well,
are,
I
you
think
are.
you were, you were saying it lasts longer
Yeah,
afterwards,
yeah,
but
that much longer, and then we see success after that. People want to see things that are authentic in this day and time. I want to see what's real, like what's really going on. I mean, as much as we can, we don't want to show you everything that's going on behind the scenes.
right, true.
The things that we can are really good for people to see, and they want to see that.
I agree. I'm, people are really tired of seeing perfection.
Yes.
The days of the millennial perfect feed, it's over. I mean, I understand, for certain luxury events or luxury clients, you might want maybe your grid to look a certain way. I get that. I understand with branding, it's important. I do branding for other people, but just make that like, the cover of the reel. It's the people want the real raw content of, Crystal's going to her event and she's like, you know what? There's a tornado warning, but we're going to still get through this day. We had the rain plan in check, and her explaining to me how she gets through when things aren't perfect. That to me makes her more relatable. And I want to go hire her to see how she handled adversity. Or, things weren't handed on a silver platter or things weren't perfect that day. So there were mosquitoes everywhere. So did we have a bunch of, cute little non-toxic mosquito repellents for everyone as a party favorite? Those are the little funny, weird things. That's what people are interested in now. And also, instead of like blatantly advertising your services, people love seeing funny, weird kind of advertisements now. So if you guys even noticed the Dunkin' Donuts account, which is also run by now a local agency, there's some people from Charlotte that are doing it. It is kind of unhinged now, and they're getting insane traction because of how funny the posts are. So also think about, it's okay to show humor and entertain people and uplift people, because if everything just keeps looking perfect, it's not going to make you feel like that brand is relatable.
Yeah.
Yeah. I when you said unhinged, Meredith, you got me there. I was like, that I love that on the internet.
People love unhinged stuff on the internet. Obviously, to a certain extent, your
Of
privacy is
course.
your privacy, and certain people want to show
Yes.
things and don't want to show things. I understand that,
Yeah.
but it's interesting to see what people are looking for now compared to how it was
Yeah.
even 2 years ago.
Very true. Yeah, I think it might be like there's something unexpected to it, something that you wouldn't expect. And yeah, I think so often on Instagram or whatever social media, everybody shares all of the curated and polished things, but when you see something that's not totally that, but it's more human, I think that really does connect with people. So another question for both of you. What makes an event truly memorable from your perspective? Is it the design, the storytelling, or those little unexpected details?
I would definitely say it's all of them. Yeah,
Yeah,
Agree.
all the
Agree.
the unexpected things that sometimes happen too.
yeah.
That's what makes it memorable.
I agree. And I love what Crystal was saying earlier about asking about the family dynamics. That is honestly so important to the storytelling. So I just did wedding content coverage for a Bengali wedding this past weekend, and it was really beautiful. The husband comes from a Irish Catholic, Roman Irish Catholic family, and then the bride comes from a Bengali family, so Bangladesh, Kenya, India. And it was really cool to see both sides of her family meet for the very first time, flying from all these different places. And I was able to capture the moment of when they met, all of them together. And it was so beautiful. I'm probably going to cry like talking about it, but those are the raw, beautiful moments that, she's going to remember that forever. And that couldn't have, I don't think a videographer could have really like fully caught that moment because of there would be a huge camera in front of their face. I kind of like surreptitiously was videoing and walking around them, and they're going to have that video for the rest of their lives of the moment they all met and cultures converged. It was just beautiful.
That
Yeah.
gets me a little emotional myself. That is beautiful, and I think it's you were able to capture that human element. So I think maybe that's what makes an event truly memorable. The design, storytelling, unexpected details, but also those human emotional moments that honestly is the reason we have events, is to have connection. So
Funny
um
thing about it is you can't plan stuff like that.
Right,
true.
right, yeah.
You can't plan it. And I think about things like if you can get dynamics with family dynamics like mother and son and all that kind of stuff. I think back to a wedding we did. It's been at least 4 years ago now, but it was a mom. She was a single mom. She had 5 boys.
Oh,
And um
Wow.
during the mother-son dance at the very end of it, how I don't know what happened. All the boys got up from the audience, all the 5 boys, other 4 she had, and they all circled around her and they were hugging her. And she was like, it was like full-blown tears, right? But now I follow the groom on social media, and you better bet every Mother's Day he posts that. He posts that. He doesn't
yeah.
care about the flowers and all that. Yeah, it was beautiful, but those are the moments that he remembers. I couldn't have planned that.
I would have been crying behind that camera, just
Bad.
bawling.
Yeah,
That's
I'm sure
beautiful.
there wasn't a dry eye in the
not at
room.
all.
Oh my gosh, how beautiful. Um, Switching gears a little bit, kind of talking about client expectations and budgets. Like these are kind of the realities of being being an event planner. So how do you approach balancing creativity with client expectations and budget?
It is transparency. It is absolutely transparency and being real. We are in a climate where, if I'm just honest, and I talk about this in the wedding course when I teach it, weddings are expensive. They are a luxury to have. Um, and being real with clients, not just taking clients and like, oh yeah, I can get it done. There are times where I just told somebody last week, I was like, I cannot do that for you. And there are times where I'm like, I promise you the courthouse will be your best, but that $60 will be the best $60 you can spend. I'm just being honest, like, because we live in a market. I mean, in the Charlotte market alone right now, to be very honest, you're not going to have a wedding at a hotel, let's say 150 people under $75,000. Not going to happen. $75,000 is a lot of money in the economic. Look where we're at right now. I don't want people saying, well, all I have is 30, and then I'm wasting your 30 on something that you don't want. So being very real with clients, and it's okay to say, hey, go to the courthouse and maybe you can have your big wedding later on down the line. I've had clients to do that. There's nothing wrong, but people will respect you if you're honest about things. But you have to know your market, and you have to know those numbers to be able to educate people. Because a lot of times this is the first time they've done it, and they don't know how much the cost of it. They don't know how much a single rose really costs, So things like that, and what season to get married in, and things like all those things play a factor. People will come and they're like, I'm going to have 250 people at my wedding. I'm like, yeah, right. Let's break down that cost.
You're like, let's look at the budget first. Let's recenter.
Yeah. So it's just having a very, very transparent conversation with people, and they will definitely respect you. And sometimes when they can't hire you because of budget, I never take that like I'm never down about it, because I've had times where somebody's not been able to hire me, but then they referred me to somebody that could. But because I was honest with them, and I would let them know, hey, this is what I can do and this is what I can't. But being very honest with people about market rate and budgets is very important. You don't want to set somebody up for failure.
And for those who are just starting out, Crystal, I know market rate, like you said, people may not know what the cost of a rose is or what things are. What would you recommend a new planner starting out? Like, what resources should they look into to gain that knowledge?
I love that question. Interning. People think as a wedding planner, you only need to intern under another wedding planner, and that's not the truth. You need to know a little bit about everything. So going to work for a caterer behind the scenes, caterers will love to pick you up on the weekends. But that lets you know all the little nuances behind the scenes and what's going on and why things cost the way they do. Going to shadow a photographer and things like that. Go know a little bit about everything. That's how you're going to be the best at your job. So if you try to just jump in here and be the social media planner, have fun with that.
So getting that experience, that real world experience. Yeah.
We'll take free labor all day.
Yes.
Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with, I just come from an old school world where you got to work. And sometimes that work you don't always get paid for. And that's what I appreciate, that I appreciated going to intern for people. And I remember going like behind QC catering, and like I was behind the scenes with my hand. They didn't even know I was a planner, but I was back there delivering those plates. But I learned so much. And then I'm able to give that, you educate yourself so then you can educate your clients.
That makes perfect sense.
Retweet all of that. Yes.
I was going to ask you, Meredith, like starting out with social media or starting with branding or content creation, your whole world, what advice would you give those who may want to pursue that as a career?
Like a lot of female-owned businesses, I was undercharging for a very long time. And now I finally have started really owning my worth, and really understanding what other people are charging in different cities. That's another thing, is you're gonna have different rates for different markets, depending on where you are, what state the wedding might be in, or even another country. So keeping in mind, what are some of those factors? I'm in a very new industry. Wedding content creation is, I would say, honestly, probably just in the past year, a new industry. It's always been the videographer and the photographer, which are incredibly important. So for my future wedding, hey, Crystal, maybe we'll get you for my future wedding. I don't know if I have 75,000 or more right now, but so I would have a wedding photographer, a videographer, and I would have a content creator, all three of them, because people also want immediacy. And so I'm charging a premium based on that bride has their full recap video by 9 a.m. when they wake up. Some of my other brides, they want stories in the moment. I have another bride that wanted to go live down the aisle so her followers could see, but then also her grandparents could watch. They weren't able to make it. So, there's a lot of different packages, and I know Crystal probably has a bunch of different things in her packages too. So, I have learned to just stay on top of the industry itself. Do you have experience with non-wedding events? What is it like planning other kinds of social events? I saw that in the chat there. That's definitely a Crystal question.
Oh, yeah. So for me, for me right now, I do more social and corporate than I do weddings. I'm at the point now. It's funny that with Ivy, I heard Ivy years ago. This has been like, I'm aging myself. This may have been like 10 years ago. She spoke at an event and she said, I only do she's like, I only do 6 weddings a year. Something, it was like a low amount. And I was sitting there at that particular time doing 30 weddings a year. And I'm going, how? I'm like pulling out my calculator. How's she doing that? And I was like, I want to do that one day. And so I'm at that level now. So we only do 6 weddings a year and everything else is corporate and social. So yeah, and I mean, social events can be just as creative as weddings. I'll tell you now. Now, the emotional part, the thing about weddings is you have a whole emotional part to it. Social events are emotional, but they're more fun. And so you kind of have more fun with those kind of events. And then you got corporate, which is just my old staple that I love a good old corporate event. They just want to eat, drink, and have fun. I mean, that's it. So
I love it.
so yeah, we do all three, but all three are very different. So I always tell people when you want to become an event planner, try all three and see which one you like. See what you like the best. I know in this season of my life, my child has gone off to the military. It's just me and my dog that you see kind of running here. I know that I want to have more time to have a life. So I know that the balance that I want to have, I don't need to do 30 events a year now. Let's look at balance and let's look at having a life. So, but you figure out what you want to do. So I broke those up into categories. I do 6 weddings, and then I fill in everything else throughout the year with what I want to do. And I can have weekends off.
Yep, that's great. And I'm on the same page. It's typically about 5 to 6 weddings, and I do a ton of galas. I mean, a ton. So I've worked with countless nonprofits at this point for breakfast to, I just did the Humane Society Gala. That was my 4th year in a row doing content creation for them. And it's so special when there's also some kind of mission that's tied to that cause. So, that gala that for the Humane Society is the only pet friendly gala in Charlotte, which is a really cool thing that I also have had to learn how to capture dogs and cats really, really well, and do it very quickly and also learn how to get a dog's attention and make them just stay right there. That's been fun to learn that too. So there's so many different kinds of events. And I think that people are now switching to more activations and events for companies. The art of gathering is just so important. And especially after COVID, people are craving connection. So it's amazing to me what kind of social events and new things are popping up these days.
So many different events like nonprofits and things like that. And you'll know what you want to do. I'm not big on nonprofits, but I just know I know it because that means you have to kind of go out there and beg for money. Do that. So you figure out your niche and what you want to do. But there's so many different kind of events you can go out there and do.
Amen. Yes.
I love that. And thank you so much for that question in the chat. And yes, I think we have been talking about weddings just because that is the class that Crystal teaches. And Meredith literally just did content creation for a wedding this past weekend, but there are so many different types of events out there. So in that vein, when it comes to event success, again, this is for both of you or either of you, how would you define event success? Is it about client satisfaction, guest experience, engagement afterwards, or something else entirely?
For me, definitely it's about client success. At the end of that night, as long as they're hugging me and they're like, we had a good time, Crystal, it was perfect, then I am all good. They don't need to know all that crazy stuff that just happened in the back. Anybody that says it was a perfect event, perfect is, it depends on how you look at it. Every event, there is something that's going to go on, you guys. There's something. The key is, and Meredith talked about that earlier, is you got to learn how to be solution oriented. How are you going to fix it and fix it without them knowing about it? So for me, success is at the end of that night. If they're happy, I'm good. I can sleep well at the end of the night.
Agreed. I love that. I'd say there's probably two forms of what that success looks like. Number one is exactly what Crystal just said. When I get a hug from the couple and they're saying, we just love this. When I show them the video, typically before the end of the night, I'll show them the video. If I'm getting tears because they just love the video so much, I know I've definitely done a great job. Or even just they start sending it to their friends. Ivy a lot of times will send my video to all of the vendors, and then they all are commenting and, saying, oh, this is amazing. And so then the second form of success would be, of course, the engagement. Once we actually post the reel from the event and typically collaborate with other people. And so how that does too. So I try to make it as engaging and as, as also inclusive as possible of all the different elements and the details of the event. So that's something that's important for me, is to make sure I'm highlighting every person in the caption in the video.
That retweet, even I don't know if anybody's still saying retweet, but that retweet, it's important.
Yeah, ironically, I feel like we're saying retweet.
Maybe that's it. Yeah, I was trying to be ironic. Thank you, Meredith.
Love that. Love that.
So we've talked about vendors, relationships, and really partnerships. So can you share what role as a planner, Crystal, and independent content creation, Meredith, what role do partnerships play in your work, whether that's vendor relationships, media collaborations, or community ties?
I'll let you go first this time, Meredith.
Okay. Well, we can never grow alone. Crystal's behind her business. I'm behind my business. I know you probably have a team, actually, Crystal. I'm a one-woman show at the moment. So for me, collaborations are essential. So my last collaboration I just did was with Uber. And it was really, really special because it was my grandmother using an Uber for the first time, and raw, authentic, real content I was just capturing in the moment. And this is now my second year partnering with them. And so that's been really special, because there's nothing better than someone saying something good about you online, or you not being in the room. So it's a great testimonial there. So the more that you can kind of collaborate with people and have them say something good about your work online, or do stories, or speak to the camera, that is huge. So keep collecting testimonials there, and that will be really helpful for your collaborations. The other thing is, I always ask Ivy for her to send me an email with the Instagram handles for every single person that's there, so I'm not missing anything, because she knows all the details. I don't know the details as the planner, so I need her to send me all of that info from the timeline, and then also the different vendor handles.
Yeah. So I would 100% agree with Meredith. Relationships are huge for planners. I'll tell people all the time, I'm a bank. What I do is I hand out money. I say, and I say that to say that if I am, use Meredith for an example. If I want to hire Meredith, well, and 9 times out of 10, when my client comes to me at this point, whoever I refer, they're going to use. So that's why I'm saying I'm handing out money. So if I'm hiring Meredith, I'm now giving Meredith business. And so that's what I do all day. So you want to have a good relationship with planners.
Amen. And the other thing is, if that person is being hired, so me as a content creator, if Crystal hires me or Ivy hires me, I'm going to create content for the planner. So they got something that they can use too, because that's huge for me. I wouldn't be at these events without the planner. So give credit where it's due. Even that Justin Monday video I told y'all about, I made sure that I'm mentioning, thanks to Ivy for hiring both of us. We would not be here without her. So attribution is big.
Yeah. So making sure that, you appreciate those people that are hiring you at the end of the day too. But relationships are very, very important. And then when I do hire you, making sure that you execute the excellence too.
Yes.
They're hiring you based on my referral. So you need to make sure that you're working in excellence too, because that's the only way that I'm going to continue to hire you. So that's important too. So you want to maintain that relationship on both sides.
Yes.
Represent them well.
Exactly. Everybody's connected. I was chatting with Crystal earlier, just saying how small of a world it is. The more people I meet, the more I'm like, you know this person, oh, you know that person. And it's about building that community and working together. I did want to open it up to our attendees for the webinar. I know we had a question in the chat. Wanted to just make sure that you were all getting an opportunity to have a conversation and ask any questions to Crystal and Meredith. So I don't think we have anything in our Q&A box, but if somebody wants to add a question, you can definitely do so in that box or on our webinar chat. We'll answer them live. I think there is a way for you, if you would like to unmute, if anybody's brave enough to do that, you can certainly do that as well. While people are maybe typing up their questions, I do have another question for both of you. Thinking about all the events that you've been a part of, what's one event that has truly stayed with you and why? And it might be a good or bad reason why. I saw that little giggle.
I think for me, one that I can remember, and this is dating back to 2016, and I don't know how long, if you guys have, I don't know the audience, if people are in Charlotte, I'm not exactly sure, but in 2016, Charlotte faced, we went through those Charlotte riots. I don't know if you guys remember that. And I had a wedding the weekend, as many people did, the weekend of that going on. And at that particular time, if you remember in Charlotte, we had the epicenter that was full blown up and running, and the epicenter was destroyed, as well as some things uptown. And the hotel that I was having my wedding in, I'm literally watching TV and they're busting out the windows of the hotel. And I am like, what are we going to do tomorrow? And I know, I'm looking at my phone, the bride, she's about to call if she's not like in tears right now. So we had that wedding, and we had to face numerous, from sounds with the helicopters and things like that. There were numerous factors we had there were a lot of challenges. But the one thing I remember, the National Guard was everywhere uptown. And of course, the bride and the groom, they were like, our pictures, we need to take pictures outside, and this looks like a war zone and everything like that. And I was sitting there, I was like, I got to turn lemons into lemonade, and I got to tell a story here. So I was like, this is what we're going to do. If we go outside and we run into the National Guard and they're everywhere, we're going to put y'all in a picture with them. We're going to tell a story. So your kids are going to have a story. And sure enough, I wish I would have had this picture. I'll probably send it to you so you can send it to people. They took a picture with the National Guard, and all I did was, social media wasn't even that big in 2016 like it is now, but we did post it on, it was fake. We still have Facebook was the big thing then, and it went viral.
Oh, I believe it.
And that was the first time that I experienced journalism. Like, they take one of my quotes, and by the time it hit, like by the 8th day, it wasn't what I said from the first day. I was like, but that moment, for whatever went on, do you know the bride and the groom were like, still at the end of the night, they were all that went on, they were still so happy. They're like, we just feel like we created a moment.
Yes.
So, that's one of my, it was just like, adversity happens, but you got to figure out as a planner how to get around it and to turn something what could be not so great into something good.
Crystal, will you send me that post? I want to use that as an example in my future workshop.
Yeah, it was crazy.
That's amazing.
It's all about that human element, that unexpected, and make the best of what you're given. So yeah, that's wild. That I remember all that exactly. I remember seeing the videos of all the windows broken out. So you did it, Crystal. You had a wedding throughout all that crazy.
Added that to my resume, right?
That's it. Yes, yeah.
100%.
They had a successful wedding. I love how you spun it and made the best of it, and it sounds like the couple did as well. So we do have
I was about to say, I can answer Paula's question that's down there.
Go for it, Meredith. I love it. Thank you.
How to price your work and your services, and then when you have to raise prices, how to calculate that. The first thing you can do is go to ChatGPT. Ask what is running for that specific service in Charlotte, North Carolina. ask about it where it would be in, you know, the other state that maybe you're looking at doing your services in. Just make sure you're doing a lot of research, and then also calculating your mileage as well. You can look up mileage calculators there. I know it's different from industry to industry. So for me, you know, I'm charging about 3,600 for a wedding that's a certain amount of hours. And then what are my deliverables? How many reels? How many TikToks? Am I going live in the moment? So it, you know, I'm just kind of giving you a random number there, but for a smaller event, it would be 1,000. I'm giving them, you know, 200 photos and videos that are raw that they can use, and then a recap reel from that event. I like to be really transparent about prices as well, because I think it's important that we all rise together and we all are kind of together in that. So that's for a content creator. But you know, there's some people I know that are charging 200 for something like that. So it just depends. For me, I'm also putting in there my promotion as someone who's an influencer content creator. I'm promoting that, you know, that couple, the people that are there. So you're also getting promotion in it. And on top of that, you know, I'm also selling it's me. I'm a hype girl. I am going to be there to support the event planner, the bride, anyone. I'm going to make sure I keep the vibes high. And that's another thing, is you're selling yourself. You know, someone could maybe produce something similar to me, but they're not going to create the same kind of inclusive, wonderful environment. So don't be afraid to also put your pricing is you too.
Yeah, and so on my end, pricing is funny. So pricing when you're a new planner, a lot you typically will charge you're gonna charge a little less. Let me just not sugarcoat it. You're gonna charge less than what somebody's been doing it, if somebody's been doing it for year over year. But pricing is one of those things you have to, I hate to say, you kind of have to play with. Like what's working and what might be working this year might not be working next year, and you kind of have to tweak it. With not say with wedding planning, with event planning in general, event planners charge differently. You got some event planners that charge flat rates, and that's whatever there's $1,000 or 2,000, if it's 15,000, whatever it is, they charge a flat rate no matter how many hours they work. And then you've got other event planners like myself. We charge on percentage. So I charge whatever the total amount is, I charge a percentage of that. But when you get there, you've got to be very comfortable in how you're selling. And that's another thing. I don't think I didn't say this, but selling is a huge part of event planning. I keep saying wedding, event planning. You got to know how to sell. And I think that's a key thing that people miss with event planning, is they want to get out into the design and all of that. A huge component of event planning is knowing how to sell. So if you're not comfortable with selling, and that means you sell yourself, you got to sell other people, you got to sell a lot. So you got to be comfortable with doing that. That's a big component. But pricing wise, it just depends. The more you're in the industry, I'll be honest, the better you get, the more you can charge. And that's just how it goes. And you'll get into your sweet spot where you'll feel very comfortable. And sometimes you'll get to a point where you can't do business in a certain market. You tapped out of that market. So then you got to get comfortable and go into another market to sell. The same like Meredith was saying, every market is different. I mean, just as close from Charlotte to Atlanta, very different in market rates. And then to that question too is, I know Meredith said Chat GPT, but sometimes it's just being flat out and asking people, how much do you charge? I don't mind at all if a planner comes to me and they say, how much do you charge? What did you charge when you started out? Ask. People will be very, very transparent with you. One, because they don't want you a lot of times to undercut. So they don't want you to charge. They don't want to be charging. They don't want you to charge $200 when the market rate might be $1,000. You're undercutting in the market. So people will tell you, just be honest. And don't do the thing where you fill out people's forms and you say, try to get pricing, and that's how you try to get your pricing. Just be transparent and ask people. Usually people will tell you.
Yes.
Totally agree.
Reaching out.
Portia, oh, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, all good, Meredith. I love it. Go for it.
I saw that Portia and Samsung SMS918U were asking, what are some of the new ways you bring in business and how to network? A really, really great group in Charlotte that I love is Charlotte is Creative, and they do Creative Mornings, which is a free event they do once a month on a Friday in a different location around Charlotte. This is where I've met so many of my business connections, mentors, friends, and it's free. And also UNC Charlotte also sponsors a portion of that event, but there's a really great portion at the very beginning. It's just coffee, breakfast, and networking. That's a really, really great way to meet people in person. It's typically all sorts of different industries. There is a group that I spoke at. I did a social media workshop for. Crystal, you might know this one. It's event planners, ILEA, ILEA. That's one. I think it's like a subscription base, or you have to pay for your membership.
Yeah. So
But it
there's
seems like
Aaliyah,
yes.
and then there's Aaliyah's more on the side of the corporate events, and then you've got NACE, and NACE is more on the side of the weddings and social. So those are two great organizations you can join. You do have to pay a membership every month, but it's totally worth it for you to meet people in the industry.
Agreed. And then I have a Charlotte broadcast group on my Instagram, and typically I'm just sharing different events or different people's services that are in Charlotte. That's a free way for people to get involved there. So look for different content creators too that are promoting certain things that are in Charlotte, and also using influencer marketing. That's a really great way to get the word out about your services. Less people are watching TV these days, or even reading magazines, which makes me sad because my background's journalism. But influencer marketing is about to be the biggest way to advertise things. So kind of keep that in mind for bringing in new business. Also, just cold DMing people. So what's the worst thing that can happen, right? They just don't respond. No big deal. But you can just reach out to people and say, hey, I really admire this that you did in this event or for this post. Do you have 15 minutes just to chat on the phone real quick? Don't put them on camera. A lot of people don't want to get on Zoom, or they don't have time to go to coffee. I get paid for an hour of my time. So, for me, I don't always have time to do coffee chats, but I will jump on the phone for 15 minutes with someone as like a discovery call. So hopefully that's helpful for bringing in new business and how to connect.
And I would agree. I would agree with all that. I love code. I still code DM people. Like if it's a celebrity like Simone Biles when she got engaged, you not think I was all in her DMs? No, she didn't hire me, but I was in there. I mean, what was gonna happen?
Congrats. Simone would love to help you.
And you guys, that has worked. That has worked for me. I did Bubba Wallace's wedding because I DM'd them and they interviewed me and I got a wedding. That's how I got it. So like DMs work.
I love this. I'm putting you as a slide on my future workshops. I'm going to say, listen, this is top tier event planning.
I will ask. That's all. I mean, what are they going to say? They're either not going to respond or respond, one of the two.
You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. That's exactly it. Well, I know we had some more questions in the chat. I apologize we didn't get an opportunity to answer them live, but Crystal and Meredith, I hope you're okay if we are able to reach out afterwards and potentially just have you type up a few quick responses here for some of them we didn't get to. I did want to end everything. First of all, I really, really want to thank you both, Crystal and Meredith, so much for sharing your time and your expertise. Honestly, I love chatting with you both. I love learning from you both. I feel like I could literally just sit here and listen to you for hours. I would say talk, but I'm like, no, I would just want to listen to you. But thank you so much for your time. And thank you to all our attendees who have been here as well. I did want to share some information about our upcoming webinars. We do have 2 more coming up. And for those who are interested, in the chat, Francisca, my colleague, has shared the information about all of our upcoming webinar sessions, as well as our information session. So for those who are interested in learning more about our meeting and event planning certificate, you can go to our website. We also are hosting, actually, let me go through first our webinars. So November 20th, we have another webinar, December 10th, another webinar, and then all the way in January 22nd, which will be here before we know it, we are hosting an information session for our meeting and event planning certificate. So for those who are interested, that is going to be a great place for you to join us live, hear more about the upcoming program that starts in March. And last but not least, our website has been shared in that chat. So thank you all so much for your time. Again, thank you, Crystal. Thank you so much, Meredith. Love seeing you both. And it's 3 o'clock, so I'm going to let everybody sign off and hope you all have a great day. Take care.